Oh,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Silent Sequester podcast, a place where we're everything but silent. Today, we are doing our final 5 interviews, and today we have Natalie. Natalie, how are you doing?
hello, I'm fabulous. Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
no problem. We're so excited to have you here with us. So just to start everything off, real quick, my co-host Dylan, Geneva, and Tasha also here. Um, just to start everything off, you're out. You can finally speak on everything in your mind. So, what is your thought process? How did you feel about the season watching it back?
It was so much better than I was very nervous just having known how it all ended and like afraid of how people are going to think about me and all that. So I was just kind of terrified. I was afraid to tell like coworkers, about it because I knew I cried a lot. Like I cried so much like in confessionals and everything. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to look so like just sad. So I was nervous about it. But then as it was going and people kept messaging me and like rooting for me, and I was like, oh my God, this is okay. Kind of nice. I like this.
Is there anything that like really like surprised you on the rewatch? Like anybody or anything about yourself or anything in general?
Yeah, a few things. Like I had so many different perceptions of the people and like who they were working with and everything than what was actually happening. Like Marcelo, I thought was like my number one. I didn't realize I found out later that he had been working with other people, but I didn't realize like how he thought about me. Like I was kind of like, a floater until I earned his respect later on. So that was like a shock. I didn't realize that Shireen had valued me so much. Like I completely misunderstood her from like the get go. Just like who she is as a person. I thought I thought we didn't click very well, and that she didn't like me. But it turns out it was the opposite. So just like my perceptions of what other people thought was a lot of different things.
So I think we saw at least from the beginning, like I would say the first episode or two, you were like very reserved. It seemed like you were just like a little like intimidated almost, but then
Yes.
you definitely like came out of your shell like after that. What do you think in your mind triggered that? Like what was what made you really like to come out as a player?
Well, to start off, like the quiet, reserved me, like I'm an ENTJ, like I'm actually an extrovert, but I'm only like I'm like a 52% extrovert and then mostly introvert. So like, or not mostly extrovert, a little bit of introvert. So I think when I saw the cast and I saw all the big names and the people, I knew every single person, like Rachel, and then Josh, I just didn't recognize right away. But I totally just like freaked out and in this little turtle shell. And I had such a hard time talking with everyone. I just like felt like, oh my God, this whole time. And I had a terrible first impression. So like, I had a hard time doing the groups, and I kept trying to get people like one-on-one, but that was hard in the beginning. And during the rounds, like you don't have enough time. So, when I finally got voted out, I felt like the Band-Aid was ripped off, and it just, I don't know, like it felt like I had been so scared of being voted out, and like, when people vote you out, it means that they don't like want you there, unless like for me, my situation was a little weird with the drum like vote thing, but but like I didn't know that. Like I thought everyone was gonna vote Spencer, maybe Spencer been LOS. I'll put it on Rachel just in case. Like I was overthinking the thing, but so when I got voted out, I was like, oh, everyone lied to me. They all wanted me out. They don't like me, So it just like makes you feel like just makes you feel bad. So when I finally got voted out and then won the battle against Katie, it just felt like, oh my gosh, okay, so that wasn't that bad. Like you did it. Like it's okay. And I just felt super, not invincible, but awakened. I was like, all right,
I love that.
I wasn't scared anymore. At least like the next 3 rounds, I was yep, let's do this.
So you did mention like you knew basically everyone there, and I think one thing that people I don't think really realize that you actually have played in a decent amount of minis. I think under 6, and like Muna's played in 7. So actually, you've played more than most of the people there. So in a sense, I guess you probably were very well connected, and I think some people know that you, Billy, and Spencer all played in the All-Star Mini. So I guess because you actually had a lot of Sequester Mini experiences, were there any skills or strategies that you had learned through those 6 minis that you brought into the game or applied to your gameplay, or do you think you just completely approached it a lot differently with the live version?
I know going in, so I played a mini, like my first one was in May, and I tried to do like one a month. So I really like spaced them out. And I really tried to learn. Like sometimes it was more of like, I just want to, like the All-Stars game, I just wanted to have fun, like, have some wine, make some friends, like just, I didn't really like care that much about winning the minis. But I did want to like make it to jury and like, I'm a huge fan of these reality games. It would be awesome if people thought I was strategically sound. Like, yeah. So I wanted to, I wanted to play strong because my first game, I was like wallpaper. Like I was terrified the entire time. Like, what am I doing? So I wanted to be like kind of aggressive, but I think I was too messy. Like I was very, very open about who I was targeting. Like I trusted maybe the wrong people, or like I just wasn't, I don't know. It was kind of confusing with everyone coming in rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have like more control over myself in the live game. Like I wanted to be like choose who I spoke my plans to carefully. And so I wasn't like an easy, Natalie's like throwing names out, let's just get her out. Like, cause I feel like that's kind of why I go out a couple of the games I played. But then at the same time, I didn't really know what to expect with the live version. Like being in person is one thing, and then who you're playing with. I thought it would be like a lot of people kind of like me who didn't like, I don't know. Like, I guess I played a lot, but I don't really feel like that connected because I don't like chat with a lot of people like outside. So I totally just forgot my but sorry.
So it's like, even though you played, a considerable amount, you just, because I think probably most people who were the most connected also stay in contact with a lot of people they play in, whether it's in group chats or Zoom calls and things like that. But that was probably more something you were not really doing much of. It was more like you played the game with the people and you maybe moved on and that sort of thing.
Yeah. There's my 626 mini is kind of like I'm close with like a handful of them, but otherwise the other one's not too much. So that maybe, that's why. Like Muna, I had met in person before. We had watched the Big Brother premiere. And so, this was like a huge problem, I think, for me, was I was so afraid of everyone knowing who I actually knew. Like I was afraid. It got mentioned on day 0 about Billy, Spencer, and I all being like the same starting room. Right. Same start. Brendan was there, but he was out the first round, I think. So I didn't really talk to him too much. So I was so afraid of people like wanting, you just want any reason to vote anyone out the first couple rounds. So I was like, they're going to want to break us up. And I felt like I would be like kind of an easy go there. So I didn't want anyone to know about that. And then I didn't want anyone to know I'd like met Muna, but I thought they are new. Like because we had posted a picture. So in my head, it was just like, don't talk about it. Don't talk to Muna. Like if people see you talking to Muna, they'll want to split you up. And I think I worked so hard to hide it that I wasn't able to like touch base with her and create that like in-game bond. And that's why I ended up kind of like steering away. And also I think Muna is like the best person ever. And I was more scared of her because I thought she was like the best player. And so I didn't want to have to betray her. Like if you get too close to someone, it hurts more when you betray them. So that's kind of also why I veered away. Even though it still hurts.
So what? So yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit, like you talked a lot about Muna and your relationship. So how did we talked a little bit about your game going into the game, like what you thought at least. So how did like your mindset and like everything or change, or did it change when you like actually saw the cast?
I think when I saw the cast, I was nervous about like the winners sticking together, the mini winners, and then just like the bigger names. I knew Katie was very like connected, and like she's on like a lot of the Zoom calls and stuff. So I kind of felt like Spencer, when we had all kind of met, he was said to a group of us, like, we are the least connected. We're like, we don't make it very far in these minis. Like we need to. And I thought that's true. Cause I didn't think that the other group of people that had like won the minis or made it further, like I didn't think that they would let us in.
Oh, okay.
And I thought a strategy would be to like worm your way in. Like I think Rachel did a really good job of that, but I don't know, I just didn't think I could do it. And so I was like, Marcelo, Rachel, Spencer, and I was like, we need to that first round, because we were like, I thought honor.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
I was like, we need to stick together, but that didn't happen, and so that's why that wasn't. It didn't really matter.
So I've been asking this to all the luxury row people. I'm going to ask you as well. Other than Josh, we didn't see you talk about luxury row with people.
No.
Why?
I was afraid that they would target me or try to flush out something I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
If I said, hey, I told Rachel. I told her. I don't remember what round it was. I remember we were on top of the staircase, and I don't think there was a camera. That was also I had a hard time remembering to get the camera on me. And I remember I told Rachel because I trusted Rachel. I felt like she had better relationships than me, but I still I love Rachel's the bomb. And so I told her about it because I thought she wouldn't use this against me, but I didn't trust anyone else. I thought they're going to try to flush it and I don't have it. Josh might have it. So I told her Josh probably has an LOS.
Oh, that's an interesting conversation. I wish they would have shared with us because it's something I know talked about a lot. That it could have been an interesting moment of bonding because how do you, now that you say that you might have been a target, I understand your idea a little bit better. Because for me, I was like, well, you could have built more relationships. But I see what you're saying. People just need one reason to target you.
And maybe that's something I felt like I couldn't do a whole lot. The first rounds was really, really frustrating me because I didn't have that social capital and I felt like no one was listening to me. But I think there was more I could have done had I just the rounds are so fast, but you get 8 hours alone in your room. I feel like there are things I could have used luxury row to work with, after the fact, retrospectively. I'm like, oh, that would have probably been a good idea.
Totally. No, that makes sense.
In your opinion, because this is actually a good question from Joseph, and I'll get a Brandon's question in a second. We've been saying this a lot about Downtime, right? He was saying do you think the season would have been different if there was a lot more downtime to talk to people, to gain relationships, basically when it's not during the actual challenge? Do you think that would have helped your game, or do you think it would have made a difference?
I think it would have been better for me because I felt like I was in an unhealthy mental state where I just shut down because this was super important to me. This was the dream of a lifetime. I can't think of my phrase, but I've always wanted to play Big Brother and Survivor, and so it was a big deal to get to do this. And I think I just put so much pressure on myself that I wasn't as outgoing and comfortable, and people didn't get to see the goofy side until Spencer and Marcelo got little glimpses of it here. That's why I bonded with Marcelo right away, because he was able to kind of break me down. We were joking and I could just relax right before the first round. And I just feel like if there had been more, maybe more time for me, I would do better in that scenario. But I don't know. Maybe I could have just said something wrong and
you needed that
made people not like me. I needed that time to open up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is one more pre-game question. I know because obviously we're going to go further in the season. But I just wanted to know, coming into the season, did you think that it was going to be a cast full of mini players and a bunch of people you've played with, or did you think it was going to be a mix, or you just thought that maybe you might have been one of the only people playing in the community?
I thought it was going to be maybe 75% mini players and 25% maybe people who had been auditioning before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I had, when I talked to Audrey, she had said something it'll be people you don't expect. And I wouldn't expect me. So I thought it'd be people like me, people that were, so I was thinking, and I already crossed out the Canada, because I knew in maybe end of July, and I'd already crossed off the Canada players, and I was watching, and I was okay, it's not this person because they're playing way too much. And then I was trying to figure out who would be kind of just middle tier. And then I thought it'd be at least 4 people I had never seen and never played a mini. I mean, now it makes sense. Beautiful casting, great job. I didn't think of that at all, just based on my conversations with her.
Now, just to get to some of your personal relationships, one person we did see you work very closely with this season was Jacob. And before we get to the other questions I have about it, the first one I did want to ask was, were you aware how much he was throwing your name around in some of these rounds?
No, Okay. Shout out to Jacob. Love you. I was so afraid of Jacob in the beginning because he was like using these lines like, I feel good about you. And like, it just felt like he was recycling things. So I was like, I don't trust them. I don't trust people that are like really good socially because I'm afraid of being like misted by them. So like him and like Brendan, I was like, no, like I don't want to fall in love with you in like a game aspect. So I kept like pushing them away, and Jacob had to work really hard to win my heart. But when he told Spencer, like when Spencer wanted to put me in the battle, and he kind of and I like fought back, and then Jacob, I don't remember if he said it before or after, but he said no, not Natalie. Like that to me was like, oh my God, he is with me, like this is great. And then he had me the whole way, but then seeing like the confessionals and like his voting where he still like voted me, and I'm like, oh okay, I felt guilty when I voted him, but not like watching it I was like, okay, it's cool. We were on the same page, like we were playing very similarly with the like kind of like I'm reading the word like very fluid. Like I wasn't probably a very good ally because, well, I was super paranoid and didn't trust anyone because of something that happened like around 1, and so I just like didn't trust anyone. I was kind of like, if I can't use you right now, like Spencer I wanted to work with him, but then he was kind of doomed, so I was like, okay, bye. Like that was kind of how I was playing, and I think Jacob was playing very similarly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to avoid end game questions till like later, but this is I guess is like kind of close to it. Brandon, he asked, so do you think your trajectory would have changed if Jacob came back instead of Spencer?
Oh, are you talking about, is that the final 4? Like
yeah,
like the battle of 5?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Well, I like when they went out to do the battle, we had that whole night and then like 8 hours the next day. And that whole time I was like, well, obviously I was sleeping, but instead of sleeping, I was thinking of like, okay, final 4, what happens if it's Spencer? Final 4, what if it's Jacob? And I remember getting like really tripped up with Jacob's scenario because I kept thinking he won't drag me, but how do I get him not to be like betrayed? But I don't think he would be betrayed because he kept not pulling me into battle matches or like not trying to reveal my vote. Like and his speeches to me were so like kind and beautiful, but I don't know. I remember getting really tripped up, and I kept thinking he wouldn't drag me. And it's possible I would have sat next to someone that I don't like, maybe a Billy, or maybe I don't think I would have sat next to Jacob. I don't think there was any way. Okay. Just because of the 2 pairing, unless something. Well, and the final 4 that happened was insane. So who knows?
Was there I don't know if we're going to talk about this, so happy to like pause it for later, but I think especially during the first half of the episodes, like a lot of folks, I'm sure you included, were like, where's Natalie? Like, so I love to hear, like, are there any moments that you felt really like bringing, that like actually affected your game or the game, and that weren't showed? Like, I think the conversation with Rachel is a great example of that.
Yeah, and I think that was my own fault. Like, well, first of all, if I wasn't part of the storyline, I think saving me like for later also. So it could have just been like pure editing choice. Totally was not upset with that. But I also think I was just really bad at making sure like a camera person's back would be to me in the corner of my eye. I thought they were filming me maybe. So I think I messed up a lot of that. But the move-in day where we're just like, or the night, I don't know, we're getting to know everyone. Jay West and I hit it off right away. Like I don't know why, we just clicked, and I felt like I could really talk to him.
He's the insider.
And he said I reminded him of Jess. So we just like clicked, and maybe because I had like a one-on-one conversation that helped me feel closer to people. But then something happened. Oh, so he was talking to me, and I can't remember if this was day 0 or round 1, sorry. But he said, talking about Muna and Jacob breaking them up. And I said, not yet. And I was kind of like, not yet. Because in my mind, Muna and I, like, we had an unspoken bond. And I didn't get to talk to her because I was avoiding her.
Of course.
I didn't want people to get together, which wouldn't have mattered. No one even knew that we had met. But and then I just was like, I don't want to target them too early because I felt like that would put a target on, like it would come back to me and I'd get in trouble and blah, blah, blah. So I said, no, not yet. But then something happened, and this is, I think, I don't really know the answer how it happened, but they got back to Jacob and Muna. So then Muna came up to me, and there was no camera on us. So this was not filmed. And this was when we were still trying to figure it out, you know. And she said, I heard you were saying my name. And I was like, I think I swore. I was like, fuck no. I was like, I was not. And I said, who told you that? And she said, Jay West. And so then I immediately, like, everything kind of falls apart for me from there, because he was my number one ally. This was before, like, I had Marcelo, I think. And I just, like, I felt I can't trust anyone. This is a mess.
Oh,
and then I thought I think I had told Muna I was trying to throw Shireen under the bus because Shireen was targeting Josh. Oh, okay, that's how it happened. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that was just so
yeah, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Sorry, Natalie.
Sorry about that.
Shireen was the one that had talked about Josh looking for the LOS, so that's how Josh's name got out there. And so I wanted to get more names out there, so I said it was like trying to throw Shireen under the bus. And then so I told Muna, like, no, I was targeting Shireen. Well, then I saw Muna go talk to Shireen right after. So then I thought Muna turned against me. And so I thought Shireen knew the whole time, and was like, at one point I thought she was like trying to filibuster me when I was on round 2 when my name was out there. Like, I just had this whole thing in my head that wasn't even real. Like, you saw the confession when Shireen said that she like wanted to work with me. I was like, what? So yeah, a lot of conversations like that was those two things, the Jay West thing, the Muna thing, were so big because it threw me into this spiral paranoia and just like can't trust anyone. But
that makes and Ryan just said that in the chat, but I agree. Like, I also always felt like you had a plan, and I was like, yeah, I totally understand why Natalie has this plan. Like, it really helps her game. Makes sense. Go ahead, whatever. But then it always got leaked, and I'm so like confused. Like, just like you, I was like, what are we not seeing? That's why I asked that question, because I was like, what are we not seeing? Who's behind which door? But like, I just need to know.
Yeah, that same thing when I was going after Brendan. I told 3 people. I told Brent, Marcelo, and Jacob, I'm pretty sure. And then Brendan comes up to me and goes, 3 people. So I immediately think all 3 people betrayed me. I can't trust them. Oh my gosh. And then I had to babysit Brendan to make sure he didn't, like, that's, you see me like walk out and then immediately turn around because I was like, I gotta say bye. and I couldn't go back to those 3, but then it was just, he had just picked the number 3. So it was just a coincidence, I think, of why, like, it was only one or Spencer was the one, I think. And then maybe Josh found out and then told Brendan as well. But everyone was leaking everything I wanted to do.
So weird.
What a shame.
I know.
Other than that round where like you had to like call out people's names and all that, I think that was good, by the way. I think your best round, you and Jacob's best round, but specifically you, was, I would say, date night, because I think that you guys executed. I mean, you got your plan to work. Just that Muna came back.
My plan, that's actually not Jacob's plan.
Your plan.
But Jacob decided to take it to a whole nother level.
I know.
Yeah.
It was kind of brilliant though. Like, I get where he was like, okay, if we make it sound like it's between him and Muna, like but I just was like, no, this is. I was afraid of him getting credit for it. I didn't want him to get credit for it. We were super lucky in just the way the dates lined up. Like, I had, in my mind, Jacob and I were tight, and Marcelo and I were tight. So like, getting your first couple allies, so you know that the ball's gonna roll. Like, it just was really perfect. And I didn't want to go after Muna that early. I just felt like this is the best time. The format is the best, where she can't come to me with a group full of people and be like, "Are you targeting me?" Like, but then she was my last date, so I just got lucky that no one told her. So I mean, it was still risky, but I'm better one-on-one, and I think that's also why. But that was like, so that was a fun episode. Like, it was heart-wrenching, and I cried while filming most of it. But like, not the dates themselves. Dates, I was like happy and like, oh, this is fun.
I felt like we saw like the side of you that I think like you even wanted to show during the dates, where you were like actually talking to people one-on-one and really like building not even just a relationship, but like the game, like you were actually like peeling the layers back of like other people's game and really getting all of that going. But I think Jacob taking it to like level 1,000, like really, I think just like the tower of cards, you know, just fell down.
And I was so scared, like when the vote like happened, so Muna goes out, you know, to stand out and look at all of us, and I can't remember how exactly it happened, but so she knows Jacob voted for her, and I'm so afraid that Jacob's gonna vote Natalie, right? It was between me and Muna, and I was so afraid of that because I was like trying not to cry the entire time because it was just, the whole game was really emotional for me. I just like, I don't know, it's just who I am. And then like having to betray Muna like that when she trusted me, like it hurt. It felt like more than just a game, and it was just really emotional. And so I was so afraid he was gonna like say something to me because I was like, I can't lie right now. I can't, like, I don't even know how to strategize right now. I'm just like a sobbing mess. Don't talk to me. And luckily he didn't. So I got away, and Muna didn't reveal my vote. She had no idea, did not suspect me, and I got out of that like beautiful.
Well, that's why I was honestly, I was generally worried about it because I was like I think like this makes sense in the terms of the round because you ended up being with Muna last, but I was like, what if her vote is revealed? I don't know. There were a lot of things going in my head. I'm like, this could go wrong for Natalie, but then it ended up working out because then she didn't come back.
And I was so scared. Like, I didn't want Billy. I kept saying, like, Billy can't know because Billy will tell Muna. And, like, as we're walking to the living room after the dates to go where we go vote one by one, I had my eyes on Billy because I thought she was going to tip Muna off somehow, some way. And, like, I was surprised when it didn't happen, and it kind of just
real quick before we even get to the Billy thing, because that's the next thing I want to talk about. So you, the round right after date night, you saw Muna and Billy. They got, you know, your whole thing got exposed. Marcel threw everyone under the bus. But it seemed like they still didn't come for you. Why do you think
that? Good question. I think well, when Muna and Billy, so I didn't know that Marcella was the one that told them until the teaser trailer aired.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. I thought they just figured it out, or they were like thinking about the vote and how it could be. And when they confronted me about it, I was really caught off guard because I didn't think that they would know. I thought I got away with it, and so my default was just to be honest. But also because I like Muna's a game player, and I thought she would respect the move, and if I try to hide it, then it would look snakish and all that stuff. So I just like was really upfront about it. And I think that helped. Like, I think me just straight out telling her, like, I can't beat you, Muna. And she was like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. And I think part of the reason also was because of what happened in round 2, where Billy like thought I was safe. And so she threw a vote on me. And like, I was so hurt by that because of this bond that I created in my head that wasn't there. Like, I built this bond it was like imaginary bond from our All-Star mini, and I hadn't had a chance to really talk to her yet in the game because she was always surrounded with people because she's Billy and everyone loves her, as they should. And I like waited too long to talk to her, and I'd like built this bond, and so that's why I was so hurt by it. And I think she was so hurt by that. Like, she's also like empathetic and like emotional, and I think that we just were both like, we can't hurt each other anymore. And so if they went after me next, maybe that it would have been too painful. Or like maybe Billy thought we were even, because Billy asked me why, and I said I wasn't working with Muna, and Billy goes, okay. Like, I didn't betray Muna in Billy's eyes because I was never like, Muna and I never had a conversation because it was kind of like an unspoken thing in my mind, and maybe hers, but we had never been like, hey, let's work together, let's make it like to Final Four together or anything like that. So I think Billy was like, okay, she didn't betray anyone except not telling me.
Because I think a lot in the we saw it was like, you have the Minnesota connection, and so like that was basically what it was. It wasn't necessarily spoken about, but like between you two, but it was still apparent that there was a relationship.
The jokes about that were really funny, but I was like, no, we hung out in person. It's more than that. But it is funny.
I do have a follow-up question, just as a reaction. Like, what were your thoughts when you found out that, Billy was the killer?
Oh, I loved that. Okay, I knew I was going to be on the kill list, the hit list. I knew for sure. There was no way I was not. And if I was the killer, it was going to be obvious unless I put myself on there. So anyway, so I wasn't like hurt. Well, I mean, I was kind of hurt. I guess I was hurt. But like when I found out that she was the killer, like during the jury speeches, that was yes. Okay. I knew Billy was strategic. Like I knew like social strategy, huge, but like also that, I don't even know if there's a word for it, but like the other side of strategy. So to hear her do her kill list and then change and switch Jacob out or in, like I thought, oh my God. So I was in the jury moment when I found out. I think I was like super pumped. And then I think afterwards I was like, oh, put me up.
So there's 2 more questions actually, but real quick, 2 more questions before we get to the final 4 stuff. But so Ryan in the chat asks, do you feel that your job as a tax auditor helped shape the way you play the game?
Yeah, it's funny because I had to do a confessional on that. And it like I have to be really detail oriented and like I'm a tax return preparer, so tax plus whatever. So I prepare tax returns and you take a lot of information and put it together. So maybe, I don't know. I probably could think of a better answer if I thought about this, but I think I just had to like look at I don't know.
Yeah, you're detail oriented.
And it's how you thought about the game in a detail oriented way, and you were able to compartmentalize everything that was happening, and that's how you translated it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, like being a CPA, I had to work. It's like you had to work really, really hard and have a good work ethic. And so I think in the game too, it was like when we had the downtime, I couldn't read my book. Like all I did was sit there. That first night was the worst, no sleep, because I just couldn't stop thinking like of all the things, and you can't even plan because you don't know the twists. So I had studied all the twists. I wrote down like all the mini twists and like had the best way to play them, all this stuff, and I was like studying on the airplane, like everything. So like even in between rounds, I was just, and then Final Four is the only thing you can plan for. So that's the one I kept studying, but I didn't study actually being the one to speak up first. I didn't think of that would be me until 4, but.
So another thing that we were learning about, we saw this twice. It was mainly during the round that Josh was like, I'm going to use my LOS on that. But she was like, you said, I'm saying she, like you're not here. You said that you really wanted to battle people towards the end. It's not a bad. It's like I get it. I think we all understood why, but it's also like I think that there's like something in getting an LOS played on you almost because you could have been like the first person to do that. But I mean, regardless of all that, that's just our opinion. So, in your opinion, what was so like what made you want to get into that battle so badly?
I wish that I had leaned into being more, I guess, like under the radar and like if someone's going to play an LOS on you, I wish I had like thought more, but I did really think about that's a good thing to say to the jury. Like I got someone to play it on me, but I feel like I had been kind of just like, I don't know, hammered down like every round when you're targeted, like people just, they don't care. You're expendable. Like, I feel like it started to really wear on me and like, maybe the middle game, because date night was this like Phoenix moment from the Ashes where I was like, I am a boss ass bitch. And I would like have these conversations with like, I was working on my final 2 speeches. I was going through like each round every night, making sure that I could explain even the subtle moves. So I was like, it was this roller coaster of like, okay, no one respects me. Everyone thinks I'm a floater and not useful. And then coming back and I was like, all right, I'm going to take matters in my own hands. I'm going to target Brendan. I'm going to like say that, and saying I would come after Billy was a game move too, because I wanted people to know where my mind was at versus and hoping they would keep me for that reason. Anyway, so it was just this roller coaster. And at like final like 6 and 7, I felt like I was either getting burnt out or I was just starting to believe and the things that like how I don't want to say that they mistreated me or anything. I think that I was just in like, you don't have a mental cheerleader for you there. And I think I just started talking down to myself too. And like that, I said this in some other interview or something, like the devil on my shoulder. Like I kept listening more and more to that. And like, even the final day, like leading up to Final Four. So it was like 8 hours and I didn't know, you had no idea any concept of time. So I'm like waiting for someone to come to me. I'm like, can I curl my hair like 5 times? Like stuff like that. So I'm just laying in bed in a ball for like 8 hours up until the Final Four. And I'm just going over my final 2 speech, and I'm going over the final 4 angles. And as I'm going over the final 4 speech or final 2 speech, I started poking holes in my own speech. And it just like me getting voted out, me like thinking through all the angles, that was kind of in my speech too, of like, hey, I was thinking, you know, it wasn't like I just let myself get voted out. And yeah, I guess I voted myself out by not tying it up, you know, but you don't know where everyone, people tell you that you're safe. Like, anyway, I started like being like, that's too subtle. Like, you didn't do anything. You have 1 move. That's it. Your vote to get Brendan out was a complete failure. You didn't do anything. You don't deserve to be here. Like, it just kept getting louder and louder and louder. And then I had to like go into robot mode of like, hey, just focus on the final 4. This is like, you need to go after Billy first because no one respects you. Billy doesn't respect you. Like, I just like took maybe one subtle thing they said and I blew it bigger and bigger and bigger.
I don't think it's entirely your fault though, because there's a weird thing with Sequester, like just the people that play in general, where everyone thinks that floating is a bad thing. And to be honest, it's not. You know, there's a difference between coasting and floating. And I think people get that mixed up.
Yeah, the definitions are mixed.
But people get that mixed up because of Rachel Riley being like, floaters grab a life vest. But I felt like you were, you weren't even really a floater in my opinion, just because you did have people that you wanted to work with. You had Jacob that you were loyal to, and that's who you wanted, and you had your targets. Floaters kind of just like, they float between alliances and they float between targets, and they just like, let the game happen. But I think that where you kind of were doubting yourself was just that you had all these people that were bigger personalities, Jacob, Muna, whatever, and you were thinking, well, I'm more quiet, so people are not really going to respect that. But I felt like you should have just like, not doubted yourself.
I know.
You could have taken this home. Like, you were playing a really
your game.
I thought you were a serious contender to win.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
So like that's why like watching it was very like sad for me, just because I was like, no, Natalie, like you're doing a really good job. Like I want you to realize, like you were like even in your confessionals, you mentioned a couple times like I'm going to be vocal in this round because I want people to know like this is what I'm doing. And I think you really showed like this is what I'm doing. I am targeting Muna, or like I'm going to target Billy at 6, just not this round, which I also want to know a bit more about like how that would have went about. But like, I think you made it pretty clear what your intentions were in comparison to other people. I think there were a lot of people that I didn't really know where their head was at, even from their confessionals. So I think you did a really good job at that. And considering you weren't maybe necessarily the most connected, the fact that you got voted out, and then you won the battle match, and then you came in and then you weren't really even targeted again, like shows that you played a really great game. And so, I mean, like, just want you to know that, like, I mean, obviously after the fact, I think, now you can see like, oh, well, okay, yeah, maybe I did do this, but it's hard. It's tough, definitely, especially when people are telling you like, Natalie, like, we're not seeing it from you. But it's just, I think the challenge is like, there are all these supposed big personalities that people think of. But I mean, I honestly think that still the quieter players can still make a huge impact. So that's just what I want to say about it.
And this is really interesting, right? Like what you're saying, Natalie, like how does someone, right, with your personality type, like go in with this mindset that you're now talking about, right? Like where you can do it, and you did do it. Like I want to make that clear. But right, like whatever that internal doubt is, especially as women, I think it's harder for us. And I think that, like I always joke like, oh, to have a confidence of a mediocre white man. But, it's like, it's another piece almost like where how do women, and especially like people in general that like are, like critical of themselves, which probably also goes into your work because you always have to analyze everything. But right, like how do these people prep for the game? And like prep that like you're not gonna maybe be so flashy and shiny, but like that doesn't equal, X, Y, and Z. So like it's almost like how do you prep for that, and how do you like prep yourself for that? Because I don't think I've even thought about this before, about this personal cheerleader and all the work you actually need to do before you go into the game for yourself. And I don't mean like strategy. I just mean like, personality and mental health.
like I didn't realize I had such a confidence issue until playing this, and then also in the minis, I have sticky notes that say "You are awesome." Like I'm the type of person that I need those sticky notes. Which it kind of makes me sad that I can't just be so confident and be like, no, everything you do is perfect. You are a beautiful unicorn. Like I wish I have that sometimes, but it's just like the self-doubt was louder than I thought. And I remember like at the end thinking that because people were saying I'm not speaking up, which I was like, yeah, of course I'm not going to yell and like say my whole game out to everyone. And I just felt so frustrated. And I was like, if I felt I was going to go to the end, Billy was going to end up dragging Josh because she was mad that he just quickly turned on her and like brought her to the end, like as a lamb to slaughter. It was like my thinking. And I'm going to sit next to Spencer, and I played a better game than Spencer, yet they're going to reward him because he was flashier. And that made me so mad. And that was kind of like had a factor in my decision in Final Four, which now I wish no, I don't want to regret anything. Like I love that Billy won.
I mean, you can still have regrets. Like
both can be true.
Yes, you can be happy. And
I don't know if you
can
can see the YouTube chat, but you're getting a lot of love over there.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, so great. Yeah, I'll look at that after.
But before we talk about 4, I just wanted to know about 6. So like you mentioned 6. Billy mentioned 6. And so I just want to know, what was your plan? Was it like for a vote, like to put her in a battle match? Like I just was really excited for 6, and then the way 6 was formatted, it didn't happen in the way that I was expecting.
So 6 was the stand, I think, right? Yeah. I think like I knew Billy couldn't go near 4 because also I didn't understand quite where Josh and Spencer were with Billy. I didn't realize that they were close until the sand thing, and then also 5 when Spencer was like, I'd sit next to Billy in Final 2, and Josh saved Billy. Like, I don't think I realized, I don't know, I'm getting up. My brain's all weird. But I feel like I might have just said 6 as like, I can't let her near 4, and 5 is really close to 4, so let's use 6. And then I don't think I had like an explicit plan. It was really based off of going to be the twist. But then she ended up having safety, so I didn't really get to do that. But I probably would have just tried to talk to everyone and be like, hey, let's wake up. But I didn't realize, like, they were obviously, it's in their best interest to bring Billy to the end versus I wanted Jacob there because Jacob would protect me.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if I would have even made that happen.
Okay.
I was going to say as well, before we move on to the thing, that I also think a big strength of yours, and we spoke about it a lot over here, was your positioning, because you can see a lot of points, especially Jacob was trying to like throw your name out as just like a contingency plan. They're like, oh, she would never drag me. Da, da, da. Literally, there was no way you were going until like Final Four. That like the drag was honestly at a certain point like the only way like I could only see you like going. So honestly. Don't like a lot of people who are saying she's playing bad and all that. They had their own preconceived notion of like, they're doing such a great job. I'm running the game, and then they went right out. So don't.
Yep, exactly.
Honestly, and if you're in that position as a player, leverage that. Like use that to your advantage. Don't think bad on yourself. Like no, use it.
Honestly,
I remember this point too when Sasha was talking about how like when men and women go into the game, men do have that advantage. I remember I was reading an interview with Nora Salman from Island of the Idols, where she was talking about how she felt going into the final tribal. And she said basically that when women have to apply for an interview, they have to not only be, and I think this also goes for minorities as well, they have to be excellent, whereas men and white people, we can be mediocre and get the same, if not better, recognition for it. So I think that might have been another reason why there might have been the doubt there, and there might have been people not giving you the praise that you deserved. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. That is a reality, and it's why on Survivor, especially with the new format where it's like everyone's jumping in and people don't get that one-on-one time to explain everything and go over it. Like you have people with different confidence levels. You know, I remember on Island of the Idols, Dean played a terrible game, point blank in the period. He just played terrible. And he went in with such a bravado, which is so weird. I felt like Nora had played like an excellent game. So when she explained it, like if you haven't seen that interview, I highly recommend you watch that interview. It's really good.
Yeah, I'll have to revisit that. I'm sure I'm a super fan. I probably did, but that's like that's a really big point. Like I wish I almost hadn't been thinking about it. I was thinking about that in the game, and I almost wish I hadn't. Like there were times, like in my confessionals too, where I was so confident, I was so proud of myself. And then it would just, I think the round would start and I would just fall. Or like when it was obvious Muna was going to go that round, I was like, I don't have to do anything. Like it was Josh's idea, like vote Jake. Like I don't think that was my idea. And then I was like, why wasn't that? I should have thought of that. Like, God, now you suck.
Like honestly, you know how crazy it is that like what Brendan and Muna and Billy, they all found out that you were targeting them. They like literally they couldn't do anything about it. Like
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta think about that. Like you were in a great position. Like they all were like even Brendan and all those people, they were like, oh yeah, how about Natalie? They were like, no. Jacob, oh, can we do Natalie? No. like you literally were in an alliance with Brendan and Josh without even knowing about it. Because they're like, we need to bring that like people like you were in a great spot. So don't let any haters
Sorry. I was just, like watching the season, like in the beginning, it was, oh, you know what? Purple Net, like this is fine. Thank God I didn't win. I played bad, you know? But then as the season went on and I was like, oh my God, I actually played really good. Oh my God, like, oh, I was amazing. Like, I had to stop listening to the recaps because it made me sad. Like it made me sad, and their little hearts are gonna shatter because people were rooting for me. I mean, that's a gift. I'm very, very fortunate that I got a good edit. I was afraid that Audrey thought I disrespected the game by not trying to get to final, like what happened in Final Four. And I was afraid that Shoes was going to bury me. But no, it was a beautiful story. I'm so blessed that like that story of like me and Billy about like, you know, going back and forth for the results being Final Four. Like it was a great story.
And this is the last thing I'll say, then we can go to Final Four because I keep pushing off. But I also remember, because me and Jen, we literally just went on RHAP recently to talk about Sequester. But I think it was like 2 weeks beforehand. Taryn was literally on there with Ovi, and they were talking about, oh, who do you think can win against who? And they were all like, oh, I mean, you think Spencer will lose to like a Natalie and all that? And then I'm sitting here thinking, and Taryn said the same exact thing. He was like, I actually think Natalie's playing a better game than all the like.
Yes, I listened to that.
Yeah, so it's like honestly, don't listen to the haters. They're not on the show for a reason. I'm just saying. Anyway,
also a question about Final Five. Sorry, Jason was asking in the chat.
I'll put it up.
But yeah, oh great. But yeah, I was wondering. I think we talked about this too. Like, did you consider volunteering going back to Battle Match in the 5?
Yeah. 5. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I'm thinking what round that was. That was such a hard. You guys, brutal round. Like that twist game thing. It was brutal. They cut out a lot of things. And I just want to say, hurt people. I was being hurt, and I hurt back. Like it was hard to watch. But that's one of the reasons I wanted Spencer to battle me. I wanted to take out, like in my mind, oh God, I was a dragon. I was a dragon slayer.
Yeah, that's right.
I wanted to take out Spencer, and I was kind of spiraling because I was losing so much confidence in myself. And I was like, I want them, like the jury's not seeing me. I thought I did great in 7, or I think that was 7 with the speeches to the jury. I thought I did fabulous with that. But I just felt like I need to show them that I'm not afraid of the battle matches, and I will take Spencer out. Like, you guys can't take him out. I'll take him out for you all. Like, that was kind of my thinking there. I think I should have just like been happy with, like, and not have done that, but I don't know.
I mean, trust your gut, honestly. Like. I mean,
with the way the challenge was, you very well could have beaten Spencer. So like that would have been pretty insane considering, you know, how much he had done. But that's also the thing too, is that like, for me, at least as a viewer, what I saw from his game was winning battle matches. And I know this comes into play at Final Four of what you talk about. But that's like what I was seeing. And then all I was also seeing was his negative interactions with other people. And since Sequester is a social strategy game, I was just like, I don't know. I feel like Natalie, like I feel like you had the upper hand with the strategic aspect of the game where you were actually making moves and being vocal about what you wanted to do. And you went from kind of being, you know, in a like a lower position, like socially with, you know, who was connected in the game, to being very insulated and having people protect you. So I think that's something that was really valuable. And I was like, I feel like, you know, if it was an Natalie Spencer final 2, I feel like you could have definitely beat him.
Oh yeah,
thank
for sure.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So going to the final 4, John actually asked this question that I was going to ask, so I'm gonna let him have this one. He said, "So, how much did an entire day of planning for the final 42 have? Like, run us through that before we get to the actual vote."
I think it was too much time because.
Oh, really?
Like I was, like I said, poking holes in my speech. So as we went on, it was like I was overthinking, and I was losing confidence, and I was just, it was really hard. Like I don't know how many days that was, like day 6 or something, of just kind of being in isolation. I heard some people had like TVs and they were watching movies. I got to watch one movie, but then I almost felt guilty, like no, you need to focus every second. You know, like would it have been better for me to just, I did finish my book, but like really take more time out of the game to like just relax. Like I couldn't relax, and I wonder if
movies and like books and stuff.
There was like like you could bring up, because you could bring your own book, and like I brought like a crossword puzzle and stuff, like then you would get separated from your book.
Yeah, I heard it depends on who your handler was. And what they were watching and stuff.
I had like a TV in my room to start, but I didn't know, like I couldn't get to work, and then I got moved to a different room. I got eliminated, like I got rotated to a different room, and then I didn't have a TV. So then it was really a lot of just like staring at the ceiling. Like I finished my book, and then I was like, I don't know what to do. Like I'm so tired of crosswords, and I would read other people's books. But most of it was like just doing nothing. A lot of just in your head, which was actually really like nice, as like a meditation almost, if I had been more into meditation. But like when we got our phones back, like I kind of liked being away from my phone and from TV. Like I liked that. It was just, if maybe I hadn't so like into the game. But I'm like totally diverging. I feel like if I had maybe just gone, like woke up that day, got dressed, you know, and then went to Final Four, I think it would have, maybe things would have been different, because it was just like 6 hours of me talking down to myself. Because the first couple hours was great, you know, practicing, and then it started to fall apart.
So we get to the actual vote, right? And I think you started out like strong. Like you said, Josh, if you don't vote with me, I'm dragging you. I think if you stuck on that, like honestly, you would have been gold. I was like, that's how we roll. I'm like, that's what Natalie's doing.
I was doing the mini, like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
we were all like,
no.
Yeah, that 10 minutes was wild. That really helped Billy, and it definitely hurt like you and Josh, I think.
What is it? Oh, go ahead, John.
No, I just want to know, like, did you go in there just being like, I want to set the tone, I want to set the narrative because of all the things that had happened in the past where people were saying that like it wasn't you really doing a lot of things? Is that why you were like, okay, Josh, do this, or I'm gonna drag you, versus saying like, let's see what happens, and then if I'm targeted, then I target somebody else?
Yeah, like normally, like the way I'd plan through the whole, because like the only thing you plan for is 4, and I just thought about that all the time. Like I did not plan being the first person to speak up. Like that just wasn't me. But then after like final, I don't know, it might have been right after Final 5 when I made that decision. I can't remember. But Final 5, like a lot of people's answers were like, Natalie sucks. Like not really, but you know, the gist. And I remember Billy said, who, like there was a question that didn't get shown. It was like, who wouldn't have the confidence, and who wouldn't do good in Final 2? And Billy said me, because I wouldn't have the confidence, which I think she was right. Like me being confidently saying at the time, I don't know, but I just felt like Billy needs to hear me target her. Like in my mind, I'm thinking Billy doesn't respect me. I need to target her first. I think Josh saved her. I don't really know, like I wasn't sure if he was just going to vote her out at 4, or was he actually wanting to sit next to her? Spencer said he wanted to sit next to her. Does everyone think that? Like, am I alone here? So I was like, I'm going to just come out super strong. And it made the most sense to target Josh. So when he was so quick to be, and I wanted to skip pleasantries because I didn't want anyone speaking up first. So that's why I came out like bullet. I was like, no.
Yeah, I was like,
we love that. Yeah, we even
loved it, but I was also like, this is like mini time, like in real life.
I was like, no one talk. And then Josh's reaction, I was like, oh. Okay, well, I guess we're done. I thought we'd spend 10 minutes arguing about it, but then Billy's reaction, like, I thought, oh no, I messed up. I misread Billy. She's gonna drag me. She's gonna drag me now. And I just completely tried to like backpedal. But yeah, then the emotional side, and like I feel like I was in this robotic mode, like, we need just get it done. And then when she talked like about being like just being the first like Black woman to win, or like Black player, I was like, oh my God, like, yes, like this is big. Like, I need to step out. Like, and then I thought of like Josh and Spencer in the final 2, and I just like, I feel like I lost that game cutthroatness, and I just felt, and I love Billy so much, and her pleas, like, I thought it was this mixture of like what's important, and then self-doubt of you're not going to win anyway, and then also you're going to get dragged. So it was just a lot of conflicting things, and it was a very like, okay, first I'm going to get dragged, we need to change this, and then eventually like Billy needs to be, how do I get Billy there? Okay, I want to sit next to Billy because I still want to get there. Okay, this is not gonna happen. I want Billy there.
Is that partially like, was like all the stuff that was going on in your head with like the lack of like the self-confidence and stuff, do you think that had any impact on why, like in terms of your own game and like you arguing your game at final 2, did that have an impact at all on like changing your mind on who the vote would be? Or was it really just more like, I think like the emotion, like the aspect of this being bigger than the game, that sort of thing?
I feel like they complemented each other. Like, I love to say like I'm selfless and I did it just for Billy, but I feel like it also was part of it being like, you're not going to win anyway. You're not going to get the votes. Like, I thought I had like 4 votes when I was planning it out. With like, now I'm like, oh, Natalie. But I think it was a little like self-interest in like, you're not going to win as well. Like, it wasn't fully selfless in the big picture.
Right. And that's where in my head, when I watched it, I thought it could have been like, maybe you felt like looking at the game and maybe what was going to happen, that maybe you felt like, well, I might just, I might not even make it to 2, or like I might not win in a final 2. So like, that's, I was wondering if that was part of the motivation there.
Yeah, I think you said that. Like they put that like in a very quickly. You were like, I don't know if I'm gonna win, or I can't remember.
I said I'm not gonna win, or something like, I'm not gonna get the votes anyway.
Yeah.
It was
so. Literally when I swear, I was like, all right, I was like, Natalie got this. And then the moment you were like, all right, what'd you do? Spencer said, I was literally over there. I was like, I literally screamed. I said, no. I was like, what you doing? No, and it's okay. I mean, it's part of the game. And honestly, Billy, do we want to call it missed? Like, I don't know. Like, her personality is really good. So I was like, I get it. I completely get it. I think people were taking it to the stream like, oh, Natalie, like she didn't know it. Cut the crap. Like, come on now. It's a part of the game. And, I think you did what you felt was right. Completely fine.
Also, just thinking about like season 4 as a whole. Who do I want to represent the season?
Exactly.
I had in my mind that Billy did play a better game than me. That Billy deserved it. I kept saying it over and over again. You deserve to be there. Like, I mean, they said they did cut it out, but like we were like holding each other. I was like crying. I was like a mess because I felt like, oh my God, what did I do? But also like, you deserve to be there. And I kept saying, you deserve it, you deserve it, you deserve it. And so I had like, I don't know. I wanted someone to represent the season also who was a great game player. And I had already like poked holes through my own game. And I just didn't
it's your decision, it's okay.
That's the format's fault. That person, like the person that drags and the person, I mean, I somehow took that power away, but like, you get to decide who sits in final 2. So at final 4, I got to decide, and like, that's the format. So deal with it.
A lot of people have an issue with the format. Trust me.
Well, that's Sequester. Period.
So
Joseph's comment. I just wanted to highlight that. I don't know if Natalie knew about this, but when I was on the finale recap for RHEP with Michelle and Taryn, Apparently, Taryn and Billy actually had a conversation before, and Billy said that she wouldn't have dragged you.
Yeah, after so the first tie was partly Billy was gonna drag me, so I just tie it up. But yeah, so she said after it all happened, I had already won her over, she wouldn't have dragged me. But then I don't know, I found out she said something later, maybe she would have. It's hard to know in the moment.
Yeah, it's hard.
But I kind of think I think I would have talked it out. I had this in the 8 hours leading up to it, I had planned out what my argument was going to be if Billy tried to drag me, and it was you didn't believe I have the confidence to show people in final 2. Let me prove you wrong. Let me do this. Let me show. I was gonna make up all this, really sell my game and let me have this. All that. I think I would have been able to talk myself out of it going into Final 4. When I had that, okay, robot, this is the plan. This is what you're gonna do. But as it went on, the emotions really kind of took over too.
Yeah.
So, for real quick, do you think if you were asked back for any season, it could be an all-star one, it could be one you're the only returner like Jay West, and you're did you come back?
I don't know. Immediately after when I got home, I said I'm never doing that ever again. That it was, you guys, make sure if you do get to play that you are mentally I don't know if that's mean, it's mentally strong, you can't just be a robot.
Prepared.
Yeah,
I mean, Jacob said something like that too, so I get you.
I feel it was really hard, people tearing you down, you tearing yourself down, and not I don't know, the paranoia and the stress. I put so much. It was my own, my fault for putting that much pressure. If I had gone in just this is fun, we're gonna have some fun, we're gonna be on TV, it's great. If I had just gone in that way, maybe I'd walk out happier. But because it was just soul crushing.
Well, Jacob said he had your vote regardless. You had his vote. So, but two, I mean, also do think this season comparison to the other ones is so different because you're coming here knowing people, and
if
plus,
I didn't know anyone,
yes,
so that's also another layer to the game. This is the first time. Usually there's a couple people who know each other, but there was a lot of people who are familiar, and even if you didn't know them, you've seen them. Yeah. So it's just I get what you're saying.
And it felt important. For me, it was so important. I felt for Josh, it was really important, and probably obviously for everyone else, but then you were oh my God, I'm destroying their dreams. I felt we were playing for $1 million and we weren't. God, I don't know. But I don't know. With time, pain heals. So who knows?
I won't say never. If I lost $2,500, that's still cash money.
Yeah, money. Yeah. I mean, it's
better than $0 that I had before. So
Good point. I would have done with that money. I would have gone on a nice vacation
after taxes.
All my friends, all my friends were oh, Natalie's buying us dinner. Natalie's gonna win, and I was just
you came close. It wasn't for nothing. I had a question. I don't know if we're gonna. Was there anything Spencer could have done to get your vote?
So final 2, I was kind of a mess because I was angry with myself, and I was worried. I was a little worried that my decision to put Billy there maybe had actually been I'm forgetting the word, but
in vain.
I was worried it would discredit her game. I don't know why. I guess I worry about what other people think too much, and I think too many different angles. And I was really, really scared that I don't know. I had made a mistake, and I'd actually done something bad for Billy, which I don't know. Whatever. Now the love I got was not that, but at the time I just didn't know what to expect. And so I was worried, and I was upset with myself. I started to regret it. I'm not proud of that, but I felt terrible for Josh. I just totally destroyed his game. I just felt really, really bad. And so during the questioning, I remember being upset with like the answers. Like I wasn't hearing what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear like more strategy. Like I knew Billy played a strategic game, but I wasn't hearing it. And like now, like hearing the like social strategy is big, like that's so important. Like she didn't go into a battle match. I kept focusing on that. Like no, like obviously she played a great game, but I wanted to hear something about like how she made like a move, and how like Spencer's answers weren't like making me feel that good either. And I just remember being like, oh, come on, Billy. Like, I don't know. But then I think Jacob and like onward, the question started, when we found out Billy was a killer, I was like, oh, like yes. Like, that's amazing. Yep. But it was like, I was upset with myself and I wasn't getting what I wanted out of the questions. And there was a time where I was like, okay, I'm not, like, I just kind of exited out of that Final Four for Billy. And I felt like I couldn't vote for her. But I kept telling myself that she did more. She's not giving herself credit. Like she did more. She had to have done more. I know she did more. And I just kept like thinking that, but I was like also a little sourpuss, and I was like, you could have been there.
It was confusing because everyone was like, they weren't being specific, I think, and I think that it just felt like it's like I was like, so I kind of liked where Jacob was basically like, you guys need to like speak up more, because that was kind of what I felt like I was missing. Like I was also like, Billy, you were safe that one round where you pitched to the jury.
Yeah, we didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I totally get like final two. I mean, I'm obviously having a hard time. I have so much I want to say, and it's like hard to like formulate it. But like I totally get where my brain is scatterbrained, and be able to do that like clearly outline without a paper. Like I would need some note cards, some bullet points, and be like, oh yeah, so final whatever 5, there was this thing. It's so hard to like recall all of that. So I get it. And I think I was like thinking about that in the moment too. But yeah, you're like, no, like tell me, give me something really good here.
Okay. Jen, Dylan, you have any other questions?
So what was in your book of season 4 secrets? Were there any other things that you had wanted to share?
I really wanted to talk about like that Jay West thing in the beginning, because it was, for me, it was so important, but then it wasn't like shown. And then like the relationships I had that weren't shown, like like Rachel I was super close with Rachel in my mind. I was aware, I don't know if I said this already, I was aware that she had like better relationships than me. But to me, like when she went out, it was pretty devastating for me, where I was like, no, Rachel needs to come back. So that was like a relationship that wasn't really shown. I have like, you guys, I have like a Google Doc that I like wrote as the episodes aired. So I had everything organized. But I think I hit on like everything from like, I made some bullet points so I could glance at it.
I love this.
No, I'm so happy I get to talk about it. I'm so happy you guys, like, you're so supportive and nice. And I don't know who's watching, but thank you so much for everyone. Like, it's been a dream.
Don't you have anything?
I don't know. Y'all asked really good questions this time.
You gave really good answers.
I'll ask Spencer the same thing. If there was another alumni that could have came back this season instead of Jay West, who you said you got really close to, who would it have been that you could have picked?
Oh, so I think I watched your interview because I'm new to prepare for this one. I thought about this question. I remember thinking Cameron from season 3 would have been good, because I played my first mini with her, where she won the mini. So that would have been a good alumni, because like we didn't work together in that mini, but like that would have been a good connection. Also, she would have been like a good, like a shield, and like, hey, yeah, you go out there and blow the place up. And then, I mean, Hunter I'd also played with, but I think I would like to play with like Christine too. I love like season 2, but for some reason season 3 is the ones that are jumping out to me. But like some fun characters from season 2, like what's her name? Vicky? I don't know. Some Veronica? Brunette.
Oh, Brunette.
Oh, what's her name?
Oh, all of them. Like, so many people.
Amanda, yes.
Like some of those just fun characters. Veronica, yeah. Like just fun characters. I don't know. I think they're great TV. So
awesome. All right. Well, there you go. That is our interview with Natalie. Natalie, thank you so much for coming over. We appreciate you, taking this time out of your day just to talk to us. We were big fans of you. So we love you, Natalie.
Thanks so much.
You got anything you want to plug?
No. I probably should have my name as my Twitter handle.
We know
you. Yeah. And Stein 10 on like everything. If you need tax advice, don't message me. No. you can message me before February. Otherwise, I'm too busy. But just shout out to my season forecast and Jacob. He gave me so much love in all of his interviews. You guys, Jacob's a doll. He's so. Thanks so much.
Hopefully we can try to get you on here next season or whatever when we do more.
That'd be fun. I'd be down for that.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's our interview with Natalie. Thank you everybody for watching. We have our last one tomorrow, and that is actually we're going to be interviewing Billy at like 8. So if you guys want to see us talk to Billy, have any questions for her, just come and slide. But until then, we will see everyone next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.